What's up everyone? Welcome or welcome back to the Marketing Nomad YouTube channel. I am the Marketing Nomad. What is going on with me today? Okay, let's talk about it. I ordered a camera tripod, specifically like the length was meant to be used for a table. And unfortunately or fortunately, it has been returned back to the sender. I don't know, maybe when it was being delivered, we didn't hear the call. I checked my phone records. There was no call, or maybe we didn't hear the doorbell. I don't know what happened, but now it is being returned back to the sender, so I have to reorder it. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is, of course, to share what's going on, but also to tell you that if I keep looking down, it is because the structure that I have made for this entire video setup is very, very unstable. Actually, that's the reason why I ordered it. So I kind of put it on 4 books, like the really thick journal-like books, yes. So 4, and then it's the phone tripod. Yes, it's the phone tripod. So it's not supposed to hold the weight of a camera, and it's a little bit unstable. So if you see me looking down a little bit more than usual, yeah, that's because I'm just trying to see if everything's okay with the structure. All right, I will reorder it today, and it says overnight, so maybe tomorrow we'll have this one. I'm actually quite excited about it. Just that I saw the reviews on Amazon and it looks like it's going to be a pretty good and solid one. So I'll let you know how it is. Maybe I'll do an unboxing of that. I don't know, I still haven't decided yet, but yes, okay. That is where I'm at right now with respect to the structure behind this video, or the setup behind this video. Alrighty, let's get into what I wanted to talk about today. So October is usually a month of reflection for me, just that it is kind of my birthday month. So that kind of adds to why I've always been reflecting during this month, and why I also plan for the future in this month. And before I started my business, October has always been that kind of a month for me. Like, how was the previous year, and how do I want the next year to be, so on and so forth. When I started my business, I felt that October was actually the perfect month to start planning for the next financial year of my business. And my financial year for my business is Jan to December. All right, so I actually thought that it fit really perfectly because it gave me that 2 months of breathing space, like November and December, to actually start prepping for how I wanted the next year to go. So that way it fit, but October has always intentionally been a month of reflection and planning for me. It just ended up fitting really well when I started my business as well. Okay, so today specifically, I want to talk more on the business side of things. There was, a moment in this month's reflection where I looked back upon the year that has passed, and I also took a look at how I shifted my reflection and planning style last year. So last year, one thing about me, and I feel like this is another video topic, we'll talk about it at some point in time, because I feel like not many people have spoken about this, or I'm not really seen any deep dive about it. So we'll talk about this at some point in the future. But the way that I run my business, or I run my life, it is very, very intuitive. All right. I have always been a naturally intuitive person. I used to fight that for a very long time, just because I think that there is a lot of content out there about how, there needs to be logic when you are approaching your life, or there needs to be some kind of a logical structure when you're running your business. However, I don't think that there is one set path. I think that it depends on who you are as a person. And so for me, a big chunk of how I show up for my life as well as my business is very, very intuitive. Yes, I do take the help of a more logical structure, but primarily a very, very big part of it is intuitively led. All right. So that's the video topic that I'll talk about later, intuitive versus logical. structure of running a business. But I don't think that there is any right or wrong, to be very honest with you. I think that it is just dependent on the person. And I think that we'll also, in another video, talk about logical versus intuitive as a way of showing up for your life as well. Like I said, it's heavily dependent on who you are as a person. For quite some time of running my business, I was, even though there was like a lot of that push within me to be extremely intuitive about my business, I kept pushing it to a more logical, and I could feel that friction within me, that frustration growing within me. And it was, I think, one day that I just woke up and I said, you know what, this is really misalignment. If I'm feeling so much of that frustration and that chaos within me, there's something off about how I'm showing up for my business. And that's when I completely, just let go, and I showed up in a more intuitive style, and that has actually worked wonders for me. In fact, I show up more peacefully for my business because that is my natural style of showing up. All right, so we'll talk about this in another video specifically, and that's okay. That's one topic. So last year, intuitively, I felt that I needed to leave things a little bit up in the air, all right? And I felt that I needed to focus only on one aspect of my business and how I showed up for it. And at that point in time, the thought process of setting the goals for the future was not very structured, but it's taken me like one whole year now. And today the thought process is a lot more structured, and I'm sharing that with you today. Okay, so last year, the thought process wasn't so structured, but I kind of figured that I wanted to be a certain version of myself October 2025. So this was 2024 to 2025. And I just spent that whole year working towards that version of myself, and it worked wonderfully for me. All right. So that's the same process that I feel I need to continue for this year as well. Though last year, I told you majority of my life, it was more of a free fall, and I felt intuitively called to do that. And we'll talk about this in another video, but there's actually a very, I was right on point with my intuition right there. And there was a big reason why I was meant to let go of setting goals for a big portion of my life, because a lot shifted in those areas. Even if I had set goals, or even if I had thought I wanted to be a certain version of myself for those particular goals, it would not have worked out. I would not have been able to align. In fact, that would have caused more resistance. We'll talk about this in another video. Oh my gosh, there's so many video topics coming out in this particular video. I will get to it, okay? But yes, so there's a reason for that. We'll talk about it later. And now I started, to think about, okay, what is the version that I want to be next year, October 2026? How do I see that version of myself? And I wanted to share this with you because I think that right now is the time that we all start to plan. We all start to think about what's next for the year, so on and so forth. And this process has worked really well for me. And it's taken me 1 year to gain absolute clarity of what exactly happened last year when I was in my planning phase. And there's a very neat structure to it today because I've actually had time to see it happen or see it unfold in real time as well. So this is what I am going to do for the next year as well. And yes, let's go. Okay, so the first thing that I sat down was, of course, reflecting in the past year, what's happened in different areas of my life. For me, I have a couple of areas of my life. I'll share it with you. It's on my wall over there. And I'll just share all the areas. So I have health, I have business, I have finances, I have fun, growth, relationships, environment, spiritual, and personal. All right, so there are 9 areas of my life that I put it up on the wall. And for each area of my life, I have just one word of how I want that year to be with respect to that particular area of my life, or what is the goal that I am working towards. It's just one word, that's pretty much it. For example, in relationships, my word was present. So I wanted to be more present in relationships. Now, how I showed up for that was I actually took a big step off of social media just because, and it started off in October of 2024. The reason for that is even before I would go to spending time with my friends, I was always kind of thinking, and I think this is the marketing side of my mind, right? And it's the business side of my mind. Like, how would I take pictures of the restaurant? Or how would I, show that we are having a good time? How would I, take pictures of the food? So I realized that I was actually not being present in those relationships, and I was being more focused on what was happening externally. So for me, that was a big wake-up call. We'll talk about that in another video as well. I will go back to this video and write down all the things that I said we will talk in another video. Okay, anyway, so I took a big step back from social media, and that was me learning how to stay present. It was very uncomfortable and very different for me for the first few months, just that it was not what I was used to. And even like the marketing and the business side of my brain was like, you have to take pictures, or you have to do this, you have to show you're having fun, so on and so forth. But overall, the transition came about, and I was able to be more present when I was spending time with the people who loved me and who I love, and even the relationships in my life as well. I was able to shift into a more present version of me. So for every area of my life, there is one word that I feel I need to work towards, and I show up that way. All right, so that's just a tiny tip. If you want, we can do a separate video on that. How do you come up with the word? How do you align with that area of your life? So if you want me to do a video on that, definitely let me know. All right, so as I was looking back at the previous year, and I was taking a look at each of these words with relation to the area of my life, I started to look forward. All right, so this is where I am at today with these areas of my life. What is the version of myself that I see for October of 2026? All right, who is that girl? What is she doing at that point in time? How is she thinking? How is she feeling? How is she showing up? What are her behavioral patterns? And what is, how is she showing up for relationships area of her life? How is she showing up for her health? How is she showing up for her business? And so I started looking at each of these areas as, who is that future version of me, all right? And I did this, and I got scared. I got scared. Okay, the reason for this is that my vision for October of 2026, it was too far from where I am at right now, all right? And I got scared. I was like, I did all of that, okay? So I was really excited to come up with that future version of me. And then very quickly, the excitement turned into fear. And I was like, okay, can I do it? Is it possible? I'm not sure. And I realized that the reason why I was getting so afraid, there were multiple reasons. So the first reason was that version of me felt too far from where I am at today. And I think that maybe subconsciously I thought that was a version I had to be tomorrow or the next hour. I didn't, at that point in time, remind myself that, hey, this is 1 year down the line. There's 12 months, there's 52 weeks to get to that point. All right, so for me, I thought I had to just become her today, or I had to show up as her literally tomorrow. So I think that understanding there was a gap, there was a time gap between where I am at today and where she is at, that helped me calm down a little bit. The second reason why I got scared was it was out of my comfort zone, all right? And I think that fear is healthy because it tells you that you are intentional about your growth, all right? And if it was something that did not scare me, it was probably going to be in my comfort zone. So that fear was a signal to me that yes, you're being intentional about your growth. There's something happening over here. You're going out of your comfort zone to be, and that's okay too. All right, so these were two reasons why I got scared, and I really did, all right? But this is how I calmed myself. There's still a little bit of that panic within me, but I keep telling myself that this is 52 weeks later, all right? There's 52 weeks for you to get to that point. You don't have to show up as her today. No, there is a process to get to her, and that's okay, all right? So that's how I'm calming myself down. Another, way that I am thinking about this is I am getting to her, so she's not me and I'm not her just yet. So I'm walking or maybe sometimes running, sometimes I'm crawling. However I wish to go to get to her, that's okay. There is time, and I'm slowly and steadily making my way to her. All right, so I think that understanding shifted a lot of things within me, but I also feel that the fear was important, and it was an important starting point for me to recognize that I am actually in an aligned direction. Right? So that was how I perceived the fear, but I got scared. There's still a little bit of fear in me. I'm going to be so honest with you. There is that little bit of fear in me, but this is how I'm calming myself down. Another way to think about this, if you get scared, is that I am making space for her, the future version of me, the October 2026 version of me. I am making space for her. I am catching up to her in the year that is going to pass. All right, so that was the way that I am. It's present continuous. I am dealing with that fear that came about. All right, now another thing that I feel I am going to be doing to help me with this fear, because I think that the fear is going to keep coming up again and again. It's not something that I can say, oh, the fear is there, and then I work through it, and then it's done and dusted. No, I think that with every stage of what is going to unfold in my life over the next year, maybe sometimes I will feel like I'm too far behind, or sometimes I might stumble in order to get to that version of me. Sometimes maybe it's going to be slower than usual, and that is also going to cause that panic within me. Sometimes I'm going to be misaligned as well. You never know, right? How the next year is going to go. So I'm pretty sure that this panic will keep coming up time and again. It is something that I will need to keep working through again and again. And I think that I am giving myself that space as well. And I am going to, of course, be kind to myself. I'm also going to be very understanding that it is a natural process to get to where I need to be, or where I intuitively feel I will be in 2026 of October. Another thing that I feel I want to be in the mindset of, and this is something that I am learning how to be as well, I am showing up for her. I am showing up for that future version of me, future October 2026 version of me, all right? Whether it is sometimes misalignment, sometimes stumbling, sometimes crawling, sometimes walking, sometimes running, however it is, sometimes resting as well. That's also important. Sometimes resting as well. Whatever it is, however it is, I am showing up for her, and that is all that matters, right? So that is the thought process that I am in. So as I sat down with, okay, well, October 2026, me, how is she going to be? What is she going to look like? How is she, dealing with relationships in her life? How is she dealing with her health? How is she dealing with her environment? So on and so forth. So each of the areas of my life, I started writing down the October 2026 version of me and how she's handling that. And after I did that and worked through, of course, the panic and the fear that came up, I started to look at actionable steps that I could do to align with the October 2026 version of myself. And I broke it down to how to show up in a given week and in a given day. All right, so that is how I started breaking it down, and that is how I am, and that's actually what I did last year. Like I said, it wasn't a proper structured process last year. Last year it was more free flow, and more intuitive. But as I went through the year, I realized that yes, there was actually a structure to this. Like my logical mind caught up to what I was feeling intuitively that I needed to do, and that's just my style. All right, find what works for you. I always want to say that. Okay, so then I started to write down, okay, well, October 2026 version of me, all right? She, let's say, for example, health, okay? She wants to be, my word for health is intentional, okay? I want to be more intentional about my health, or I want to show up more intentionally for my health, whether it is the food that I eat or how many times I exercise in a week, what I am exercising, what am I focusing on. I just want to show up in a more intentional way. And this is something we will definitely talk about in another video. There are a few things that I've already started out with respect to being intentional about my health. For example, like doing a daily log specifically for health, all right? And there are like many categories. I'll share that with you in just another video. Give me a few days to, it'll be more computer, like it'll be on my laptop. So give me a few days to work that out. All right, so for that, I decided, okay, well, that version of me, right? It was not, I want to be this specific weight or I want to look like this. No, I don't have goals like that. For me, those have never worked. Those have only, made me feel very, very demotivated. So I think that this is also something that, Atomic Habits also talks about, set systems and not goals. So in alignment to that thought process, and also, and as an extension of that, it's more like, what do I need to do every single week in order to become someone in October 2026, someone who is intentional about her health? All right. So that started off, like, for example, doing a daily log. Every single day, I wake up in the morning, I do the first half of my daily log because it's all about last night to this morning. And then before I sleep, it's the second half of my daily log, everything that I did during the day up until the night. Right. So 2 times in a day, I show up for myself doing a daily log. Right, so that is someone who is intentional. That is the October 2026 version of me. She daily logs every day, and that helps her become more intentional about her life. So I started, writing down to-dos of how I need to show up that particular day for that particular area of my life, and how I need to show up for that week. So sometimes it's a day, like daily log is a day, but maybe in a week, for example, maybe you want to take 30-minute walks when you are, when you have to de-stress for your work. You want to take 30-minute walks every single day. You want to do it from maybe, let's say, 5 to 5:30 p.m. That's a to-do list, all right? So maybe I will not achieve every single day. Maybe there will be days where meetings overlap, but then I am being intentional about it. So maybe today a meeting stopped that, but the next day when I'm setting the meeting, I leave that time out. I give myself that space and that time. So that was also one more way. So I started listing down these individual actions, these individual to-dos that I was going to do in order to get to that version of myself in October of 2026. And I wouldn't do like 7 times a week, I have to do 30 minutes. For me, I just kept it as at least 5 times a week. At least 5 times a week, let's take a 30-minute walk from 5 to 5:30. This is my de-stress time. This is the time that you are giving yourself to just free your mind, all right? Then with respect to fun, for me, it's picking up a new hobby and working on that hobby, learning that hobby, and just, it wasn't like, oh, I have to be an expert at this or I have to be at a certain level by the October. No, it's how many times a week are you going to focus on that hobby, or how many times a week are you going to give yourself that space to work on your hobby. So for me, it was 30 minutes for a couple of days every week, and I gave myself a particular number, like for example, 3 days a week or 4 days a week. Now, if you are more comfortable, for me, I am not, but if you are more comfortable, give yourself like Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, I will work on my hobby for 30 minutes at this particular time. For me, my life is a little bit more, I wouldn't say chaotic is not the word. It's just things happen on the fly a lot. So for me to structure my day a lot, it doesn't align with me just from how my life goes. So for me, I don't do particular days. It's more of, like I said, it's more of the intuitive, and it's more of the when I feel the urge to. So I keep it a little bit more general. For me, it's 3 times a week or 5 times a week. The more specific I get, I tend to panic, I tend to spiral, I tend to not do it. All right. Yes, that's probably a neurodivergent trait, but yeah, so I tend to keep it as 3 times a week. And when I feel the energy, I go for it, but I am keeping that standard for myself that it is 3 times a week or it is 5 times a week. So even that, it helps me be more intentional about how I am showing up for that particular day as well, or that particular week, right? So some to-dos will be on a day basis, some to-dos will be on a week basis, some to-dos will be on a month basis. Track them all. That is very, very important. I think I've been saying this from the beginning of time, at least ever since I started this YouTube channel. Track. The tracking helps you understand whether you are in alignment, whether you are missing out. It just puts that subconscious trigger within you to observe how you are actually going about that particular to-do task. All right. So track it all. I I have like tracking systems everywhere. Like there's a board out there that's tracking, specific areas of my life as well. There's one thing about tracking my money, my income, my revenue. There's tracking for to-dos. I spend quite a bit of time tracking, yes, but I really feel it adds so much to my life. It keeps me grounded. It keeps me very, very stable. It also helps me understand where I'm at. Am I consistently showing up for that, or I am not? It just gives me a sense of direction as well, right? So I always say track everything. All right, so that was one thing. So I came up with a list of to-dos for day, week, and month. And for some of you, if it's important, quarter. All right, so maybe once a month, for example, doing something very different. That could be it as well. Whatever it is, that's up to you completely. So in each of the areas of my life, I came up with these to-do lists. And for me, this whole picture was October 2026. This is the version of me. Like I would have become very flowy with this routine set. It's going to take me time to get there, absolutely. Like maybe this week I might not be able to exercise, for example, 5 times a week. Maybe this week I will start with 2, all right? But I will keep improving. The next week I will push myself, maybe 2 and a walk, maybe brisk walk, okay? And then I push myself, maybe I have to stay that way just to keep consistent with it. I stay that way for a little while, and then maybe 3 times a week I push myself, I keep consistent with 3 times a week, then I push myself to 3.5, and then 4, and then slowly 5. All right, so understanding that this is a progress. You are getting to her. You don't have to be her today. You're getting to that version of you, him or her. Completely onto you, all right? I also wanted to say, this is not specific to, how you want to run your business, so on and so forth. It could be about any aspect of your life as well, all right? So that was one thing. So I was like, I don't have to get to her tomorrow. No, I don't. I don't have to put that kind of pressure on myself. I just have to keep showing up for her. That's pretty much it. Am I showing up for her even if I am resting, even if I am maybe 10% down the progress line for her? Am I showing up for her? Yes, I am. And that's pretty much it. Okay? So that has been my thought process. And that is also going to be my thought process as and when I start getting scared over the next few months, which I'm pretty sure I am going to, okay? We're gonna be honest here. Yes, I will. But this is how I'm going to calm myself down as well, all right? So that is what I did. That was one part of it. The last part, okay, and this is something that I have put on my laptop. Like I wrote it on a Post-it, and I actually wrote it on this very particular Post-it, and then I put it on my laptop. I stuck it with a very cute washi tape, like edges. So for me, I like color. It just makes me happy. It motivates me as well. So for me, I needed color to remind me. So I picked from that entire to-do list, as much as I do have a tracker for all of them, I picked, actually it was supposed to be 5, but I ended up picking 6, right? So 5 or 6, but it has to be less than a big number because you don't want to overwhelm yourself, right? So in that, technically my intention was 5, but I had to fit one more in, right? So 5 to-dos that are a must, all right? That every single week when you look back, you have to have completed all of that, right? So, and that's like a non-negotiable, just 5, all right? For me, it's 6, but just 5, yes, but don't go more than that, all right? Otherwise it gets overwhelming. So just 5 to-do things of any of the areas of your life that you just decided on. Those are your non-negotiables. Those are, you have to show up for that particular week. Now, this week it might be different, next week it might be different. That's completely okay, all right? For me, this is how actually these 5 or 6 things are how I want to, they're my non-negotiables for the entire year. Right? But for you, it can be shifting to this month, this quarter, or this week, however it suits you. All right? For me, it is for the next 12 months. These are 6 things that I want to show up consistently for. Right? So just write the heading. So I've written For example, there's exercise, there's study, there's a lot of that I'm actually studying behind the scenes as well. So, and then my book 3, me writing my book 3, there's some activity that needs to happen every single week with respect to book 3. Right? It doesn't matter if I'm writing maybe one part of it or I'm just researching for that book. It doesn't matter. I just have to take some action with respect to that. All right. So I made a list of, hold on, my camera is running out of the time. Okay. Yeah. So it usually stops at 30 minutes, so I have to reset it. Okay. So it's some activity that you have to do with respect to that in a given week. So that's something that I have put for myself to remind myself, because sometimes your to-do list, it's spread out over 12 months, right? So you want to kind of narrow that down to 1 week, or you want to at least narrow it down to few main things that are non-negotiable, because some of them, there's a lot of time. You'll probably want to focus on it on a later part of the year, but whatever is a non-negotiable for you to start with, I would recommend 5 or 6. I say 6 because I did 6 and I kind of want to include myself. But yes, 5 or 6, not more than that. It just gets overwhelming. In what you want to do in a particular period of time, that's going to be your non-negotiable. So that has worked so far as well for me. Just keeping that list and making sure every single, because it's on my laptop, right? So I see it almost every single minute of every single waking hour of my life. So it's always there on the back of my mind that, hey, okay, we didn't work on this week, or maybe a few days of book 3 have gone by and I haven't really worked on it. And then I see it on the post-it and I was like, oh, let's do at least something. And then I take some time out and I work on it as well. So that's also one more thing that has helped me, that has worked for me with respect to planning for the next year. All right. So yes. And then I also put a smiley face and a heart. That is just to motivate me, just to let me know that, hey, don't take it too seriously. Make sure that you are showing up for yourself, but don't also take it too seriously. So for you, if you want to write some affirmations, you want to say keep going, or you can do it, give yourself that little pump up, because there are going to be moments where you don't really feel your best. There are moments where you kind of are struggling internally with that motivation. So that is you telling your future self that, hey, in those moments where you're feeling a little bit low, you can do it. Absolutely, keep going. So for me, a smile and a heart does it. So even if I'm like, oh, do I really have to work on book 3 this week? Then I see the smile and the heart, and I'm like, yes, I have to. At least a little bit, whatever it is, at least you are showing up for that future version of you. Even if it is spending time on my laptop researching, you don't have to write. Maybe my work, my brain is too overloaded. I don't want to write, but maybe there are certain things that I need to study for it, or I need to research for it. Do that, all right? So, or even review, go back and review what I have written and, correct certain things or correct the thought processes. So those are light work. So, but moments where I feel, okay, yes, I have it in me. I have the mental and emotional capacity to write, physical capacity as well. Yes, I will go for it and I will do more as well. So allowing that flexibility for yourself is also important, because for me, I think it depends a lot about the energy that I am in, whether I have more energy for it or not. I think that it is because my work or my line of work is more creative. All right. So it's a lot dependent on the energy. I cannot tell you at 9 a.m. today, I will be able to do this. No, I can't say that, just because maybe at that point I don't have enough energy. So I always kind of keep it a little bit free. It's just you have to work on it, and there needs to be progress in some shape or form towards the end goal that you have. But of course, according to your energy, according to your state of mind as well. But that way I feel like even if it's low energy, I'm giving my 100%. So I think that is important to me as well. Even if it is researching and I have low energy, so it's research time, I'm giving it my all, rather than giving 10% of me to writing and struggling with that and pushing myself because I feel like I have to do it. No, I don't. For me, that doesn't work out. And of course, that's also another video topic we'll talk about at some point as well. Okay, so this is where I will leave you for today. I really hope that this gave you a good starting point to understand, how to plan for the next year in case you don't know what to do or how to go about it, in case you are a little bit more freestyle like me, and you are more of an energy-based person, like the way that you show up for your life, it's more energy-based. Yes, this probably is a way that could work for you. Of course, use it, tweak it according to your needs as well. This is something that has worked for me, my style of showing up for my life. Just that if it is too structured, I can't. I physically cannot. I end up feeling so bad about myself. I feel like I'm a failure. And it's just not how my mind works, all right? And that's just it. You know, sometimes it's not, and that's okay too, right? So this is a way that has worked for me. I tend to keep it general, but also making sure that I am making progress towards the end of my goal. So what is the future version of you that you want to get to? What is she like? You know, start thinking about it. You know, he, she, they, however you want to call yourself, that's completely on you, right? But what is that version of you? What do they look like? How are they showing up? What are the thoughts that they're having? What are the feelings that they're having? What are the actions that they are taking at that point in time? You know, how are they showing up for themselves? So that's the version of you that you need to get to. It's a process. You have 12 months to get to that version of you. And as long as you keep it in your mind that you are showing up every day for that version of you, it's pretty much it. That day is a success. All right, so that's how I see it. That's how I've been calming myself down. That is how I will continue to calm myself down as well. All right, so I really hope that this helped you. If you like this video, please do give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification that tells you every single time I do upload a video, which is going to be more frequent. I'm not sure I'm going to be posting the video uploads on Instagram, like the notifications of them, just that they're going to be at least a couple of them every single week. I don't know, I'll try, but I am kind of staying off of Instagram just on a more mental and emotional health perspective. I am kind of staying off of Instagram in particular, all right? But that's just me, all right? So hit that notification bell. That will tell you every single time I do upload on here. Alrighty, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you have anything that you've tried and it's worked for you, absolutely share it with all of us. I'd be interested to know as well. And if there's something about this video that you liked, something new, or something that you are going to try out for yourself as well, let us know. Give us a progress report. Maybe you can come back and edit your comment as well. That's something that you can do as well. All right, I will definitely keep talking about this over the course of the next year, give you updates about where I am at as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, take care, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye-bye.